Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Saturday. Did everybody have a great week, including an awesome Friday? I don't see. Is anyone commenting? Can somebody see us? Anyone?
Hold on.
Rick Duff, how's it going? You guys see us, right? I just want to make sure. It looks like it, but... Hey, they see me. Harry says hey. Hey, Harry.
Hey, Sweden.
Straturday. I love that one.
Yeah.
That's good. I like Straturday. Great Friday. Shaman, I think you're a day behind, man. I think you lost. We're on Saturday now. David says it's Sunday in Australia.
Oh, now he's just bragging.
Yeah. Hey, tell us what happens this afternoon, so we can know. If you're since you. So I brought Ralph today. Everybody remember Ralph?
Hey guys, YouTube, what up?
So we can answer questions and have some fun. Please send me that Telecaster. I love it too much.
Hey, Argentina.
Argentina. That is awesome.
Buenos Aires from Starship Troopers.
Is that where Strip Troopers was?
I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was too.
The UK.
Gabriel's asking, what do you think of the old Randall RG100s? Well, you know, they were great. I had one. It was my first stack. I had that head and two 412 cabinets, and I got it for $799 brand new. And back then, that was cheap for a stack. I mean, I guess it's probably inexpensive for a two 412s and a head now, but back then it was... The only thing I remember about it, I loved it, except for the first gig I ever played. My other guitar player, 100 watt tube head, and no one could hear me. And we were loud. I mean, that was part of it. I mean, I could have been... it would have been great if he wasn't so cranked to the hilt. But 100 watt tube head against that Randall head, it was just killing it at full blast. So, Clayton says, who's your favorite KISS member? Gene Simmons. You?
I'm going to go with Gene just because it's an easy answer.
Well, I'm a bass player. So, Brad says, I'm sorry, I don't know the other guy. Can you introduce him? Yep, this is Ralph. Ralph is one of he's my best friend.
Yeah.
So, forever. He knows the secrets. He knows where the bodies are buried.
And where the shovels are kept.
I had to let him come on the show today so he doesn't say things about me on Twitter.
Because I'm all over Twitter.
Brian says, it jumped. Brian says, thoughts on heritage guitars. From what I know, they are built in the old Gibson factory in Kalamazoo. Well, he said Michigan, but I knew what you meant. Brian, I'm figuring that out right now. If you can see behind me, this is a heritage guitar. So that's a heritage full hollow. Heritage sent it to me to check out. It has to go back, of course, when I'm done. I'll be doing a review of it. And I'm getting a vibe of them and stuff so I can figure it out, because they're a guitar that I seriously want to think about getting and getting rid of my Gibsons and getting heritages. But before I make that decision, I really want to be thorough. And one of the things that is really cool about having a YouTube channel where we review stuff is a company like Heritage is willing to send me something to check it out, which is interesting because all the years of being dealers, manufacturers, all the stuff I've done, no one's ever been willing to do that. So it's funny that, you get more power, so to speak, as being on a YouTube format than you do having a business with these companies. But either way, it's cool. So I'm going to check it out. And then hopefully whatever I discover, I will pass on. That's the whole point of this, right? So we can all learn together. You guys, the questions are coming fast. I'm going to do my best. Let's see. Hey, Phil, what are your thoughts on the high-end Korean versus low-end American guitar, i.e. PRS SC, Holcomb, which is about $900, or an S2 standard? So that's a good question because, right, the argument is top of the line for Korea manufacturing versus the inexpensive S2. I'm torn by that. So, I go back and forth. I have an S2 and I have an SE. And my issue is really, for me, it's a neck preference. I like the neck on the SE more than the S2, but I like the S2. I don't know. I think my only thing I can say honestly is because I have both. I don't think it matters.
I'm going to go with the S2.
The S2?
I just like the S2 a little bit more than I like the SEs. For a $100 bump, it's easy for me to go the extra $100 to go with the S2 because I'm thinking 5 years down the road where I'm still going to be happy with the S2, where you kind of get that in the back of your head. You're like, oh, for $100 more, I could have got the American instead of the Korean.
Dave wants to know thoughts on Chris Cornell. Obviously, it was horribly upsetting. Mostly, obviously, because he's an amazing artist. I've had this discussion before with about David Bowie and other artists. It's horrible when they're so young. 52 is still very young and a musician. He had a lot more to give the world, and so it's horrible not only because we lose an artist, but we lose the opportunities to get more out of that artist. So, it happens. I don't post any of that stuff on my Facebook or Instagram. Anytime anybody passes on, I'm really just, some people are like this. I call it a funeral dodger. I'm a funeral dodger. I will go out of my way to not be involved with when someone dies because emotionally I don't handle it very well. So I just defer from it. I don't know if there's others like you like me out there that, it's just, I just do. So, let's see. Next question. Oh, Michael Smith said, hey, he likes the channel, and he liked watching me on Johnny Bean and Dave Nesdall show the other day. Yeah, I had a blast going on there, Michael. I'm glad I saw you were commenting on there, too. Yeah, those guys are great. They're just fun guys. I like it because they don't judge anybody. That's the vibe of what I'm trying to do and what I like to do. I just want to learn stuff, and I don't want to be made fun of when I don't know something, and I don't make fun of somebody else for not knowing something because, I find anyone who tries to stop you from learning, that's pretty much the worst person ever.
Hold on.
Okay, is there a good question?
Yeah. Jack Ripper asked, if you're a bass player, where are your basses?
That's a good question. They're in the other room. We've had this discussion recently about why I don't do bass videos. The reason I don't do it's simple. Same reason I don't do it. Somebody asked me this. I'm going to actually do two questions at the same time. Somebody asked me, what about my acoustics? They're also in another room. I have all these acoustics. Somebody said, hey, you don't have acoustics. Ironically, there's my classical today, but I was recording with it. But yes, I have a bunch of acoustics. They're just in another room. I have a bunch of basses. Not very many basses, though, because I actually play my basses, so I don't need to collect them, so to speak. I keep saying I'm going to do videos. The truth is that videos, no matter what the video is, it takes the same amount of time to do it, right? And what happens is when I do the bass videos and the acoustic videos, the view rates drop so far down that it's not that I need the view rates. It's just when you do work, it's tough when you go, okay, look, so many people are going to watch this one, but only so many people are going to watch that one. I'm working my way out of that mentality right now. So, but yes, and I know people talked about that more bass stuff, and I have an idea of how to progress that. So, plus the other problem with bass stuff is I don't buy a whole lot of bass stuff. I actually play bass a lot, so I just have an amp that I love and a bass I love, and I play just that.
Well, I think it goes back to the old thing where you see bass players, they have the same bass for 20 years. Once you find that sound you like, you really don't venture far from it. Yes. Well, it's kind of like guitar. You need a flavor for everything.
Yes. Big Idea 100 said, what is your favorite bass? This is where, like I said, it could get boring. I actually have one bass, and I play just that one bass. And it's a custom shop Jazz Deluxe that I've had since 2005. So I've had it since 2005, and I could have 50 basses, and I'd probably play that bass 95% of the time. I'm working on something right now. I finally found a company that's interested in working with me on basses and videos. So I'm hoping that that's going to spark some new exciting stuff. Let's see. Oh, James wants to know who made me want to play guitar. Who made me want to play guitar is not the person that made me... The person that made me want to play guitar is not the person that made me kind of learn guitar. Does that make sense? The person that made me want to play guitar was Mick Mars from Motley Crue. I saw Motley Crue and I thought, I want to play guitar. But this is when I didn't even know what a guitar was or a bass was. I just did it. Once I started guitar, I kind of moved on from that. But I love Mick Mars to this day for that reason. He's I don't know what it was. There was just something about them and they were a cool looking band. And I thought, let's do this. So... Halen's got a question. Maybe you can answer. What laptop would you recommend for recording under $1,000?
They're all the same now.
Yeah, I play. I have Macs, so I'm horrible. Everything I have is Mac.
So yeah, I mean, I think for $1,000 budget, you can get a lot. Again, you can get Macs in that budget. So the nice thing with the Mac is everything's proprietary, so it's going to work every time. PC, you have more options, but again, you're going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to get things to work. So you got all kinds of stuff now. I mean,
yeah,
I remember 15 years ago, nothing like that. Nowadays, I think a lot of laptops are going to be fast enough to
run software.
Yeah, to run the software. You're not going to have any latency issues when you're recording. So,
and then either way, you got to do removable hard drives to get all that stuff on there. Here's a good one. Jimmy McKee says, "Does the 5150 50-watt head have a volume jump between channels?" Yes, they do. There is modifications for that. It is a huge issue. It's a design flaw in the amp. Still a great amp, just a design flaw in it. They don't seem to want to fix it, or they don't have any plans to fix it. I've heard rumors maybe something at an NAMM show this summer, but it's just a rumor at this point. Okay, let's see. And remember, if I miss a question, guys, I apologize. I'm trying to hit as many as possible. But I'm also trying to find questions that are kind of new and also really over-the-top interesting to everybody. Here's a good one. What do you think of the Roland Blues Cube? I like the Blues Cube. It's a really good amp. I almost bought one. It was in my crosshairs. I actually had one on loan for a while, and I just at the last minute changed my mind. Definitely one of the best solid state amps out there for sure. It likes pedals. It's a good amp. I had a lot of fun with it. Justin wants to know thoughts on Eden bass amps. I owned one. I had the small one. I had a bunch. God, it's been a while. Eden 410 cabinet, 210 cabinet, and I had a 110 or 112 cabinet for a while. Good stuff, right? My problem, see, bass amps, this is where the bass side of the videos would be hard. Bass amps for me, just like guitar amps to me is about being small at a home practicing, not gigging. And bass amps, I mean, they're instantly too loud, right? So I my experience now is mostly with small bass amps. There's a weird one. Can you recommend a guitar with only one single pickup? The EVH Stripe Series has one pickup in the bridge, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot that I can think of that are like that. Some of the Charvels are like that.
I think there was like a Model 2 of the Jacksons that had that one bridge pickup.
Right? Yeah. So, okay, here's one. Klaus wants to know, after taking the lipstick pickup apart, what do you think of them? I'm really interested in them. So, that taking apart, actually, so that I do that stuff. Ralph can attest to this. Yeah. What that video, if you guys didn't see it, I took a pickup apart today. I do that all the time. Ralph, it's pretty common, Ralph, to come over and I'm taking something apart, going through it. I've been doing that for years. Some stuff I put back together, obviously a pickup I couldn't. I will do it over and over again just to figure out what it is and why I hear what I hear or see what I see. Right now I'm really into lipstick pickups. I have this guitar here with lipstick pickups. This one I'm trying to figure out why they have a sweeter, better sound. So I want to take one apart and look at it to see what was going on. I literally had no idea what was in there. Other than what I can read, but that doesn't really tell you anything and pictures don't tell me. I want to touch it. I want to see it. So I mean, I've known Phil for over 20 years. Walking in on him and he's pulling something apart like a pickup, that's just normal. So the let's see. Okay, so here's a question. Looping back to PC recording, what physically are people using to connect to guitar to PC? Audio cable fits pretty well. Okay, so you know what I recommend? If that's your questions, there's a guy named Pixie Licks. Pixie Licks, I think, has a great channel. He just did a video recently about how to plug in the computer and stuff, and I really enjoyed it, especially over some of the other guys that have done the studio stuff where it gets too in depth too quickly. I think if you're trying to learn how to do it, and his sound is killer, so definitely recommend Pixie Licks for that. And then again, later when this rebroadcast, it'll be in the index. I'll put a link to his channel. Oh, here's a great question. Trampus wants to know, I can't decide between a Fender Benson and a Deluxe and a PRS Sonzera 20. Which one do you like better? I've owned the Benson. I got rid of it. I no particular reason. I liked it. I have a Sonzera. It's right here behind Ralph. I don't know. Those are tough. There are $100 difference in price. All right, so the Benson's $100 more.
No, that is a tough
It's
question.
tough. I'll have to default to what I'm doing. I have a Sonzera and I don't have a Benson, so I guess I prefer the Sonzera because I picked it over the Benson. But I really like the Benson. So the only reason I don't have the Benson is there's something about the Benson I absolutely loved, and I figured out for me, everybody's different. For me, the 68 Princeton does that same thing that I love at a lower volume, and I don't need anything, for gigging, so to speak, for that. So. Rudy says, what's your favorite Celestian speaker? I don't have a favorite. Amps just sound differently with different speakers. I have every speaker. You can name it. I have it. I have an Eminence Legend. I have the Eminence Raging Cajun. I have the what's the hemp one? I have that one. I have Celestian Greenback, Creamback, Vintage 30, Heritage, a Blue Alnico. I have a Jensen. I have every kind of speaker you can pretty much want and mess with them all. And I thought there was going to be some Holy Grail speaker, and that's what I've learned from me personally. There is no such thing as a Holy Grail anything. In fact, there's a couple that I could probably stick with, but, and then to get sidetracked just because it's too funny, Quentin says, did you get the lipstick pickup back together? No, it's never going back together again. I had, I'll just tell you guys so I actually I was just showing Ralph, I killed 2 of them. Where'd I put them?
I think we threw them away.
Yeah, I kept the casings. They're somewhere. I actually destroyed 2 of them, not to upset anybody. Because what I did was, to be honest to goodness, I actually did it, and then I thought, I should have filmed that. So I took the other one and I filmed it. So... you know what I mean? Because I never thought about that. I do the videos where I tell people what I experienced or what I think or what I found. And I never thought to actually show you guys how I come up with these experiences or thoughts. And I thought, so hopefully I'm going to do more videos like that because I do this stuff a lot. Crazy stuff. Here's a funny story that involves Ralph. When Fender asked me to carry custom shops, right? Remember? And they're all reliced, and they wanted me to buy 26 of them.
It was a lot.
And I was like, what? Did people really pay $3,000-$4,000 for a beat-up guitar? So I took, what did we take?
A Highway 1.
A Highway One
Strat.
This is going to upset everybody, so I know.
It was I think the first Saturday we had them in too.
Yeah, when they first came out. Me and Ralph took a Highway One Strat apart right then and there. Took it out in the parking lot in front of the shop, and we kicked it around the parking lot, and we hit it with a chain, and then we pour muriatic pool acid on it.
We were doing all kinds of, because this was, I think everybody was like, oh no, this is what they do to do it, and we're like, all right, we'll just go and do that.
So we destroyed this guitar to see if it's BS, right?
Yeah.
And what we learned doing it was hard work. To this day, whether you liked Relic or not, we spent a whole weekend relicking a guitar. Yeah. It was a hard process, and ours didn't come out nearly as good as theirs. Now, again, it was our first time, doing it. But so that's just how I've always thought. It's like I want to know. So I want to know. So I told Ralph, I go, hey, you know what? And so you guys can picture this in a way that doesn't sound so crazy. In my brain, I thought I would rather destroy and get rid of a $600 guitar than be in debt $28,000 in instruments. You know what I mean? And walk into a problem. So that's what it was. I wanted to discover something before, as cheaply as possible. And that's also one of the reasons why I have some experience now. Let's see. Bandit No Way Back says, I'm surprised that you finally mentioned G&L in a video. I mentioned G&L in all the videos. I keep reaching out to them. They don't seem interested in letting me check out any gear. I think about buying them, but the truth is, when I contacted them, I told them the problem is I don't know what to buy. I'm not going to randomly just start buying gear. It's, right? So there's no dealers to go to, so I'd have to go to their factory. And to be honest, sadly enough, I think I found a product better now that's around the same money or less. So for me, although great product, when I say better, I mean as good. That's what I should say. Something is good, but we'll see. Let's see. What else do we got? Hey, Fender Bender says hello from the Bronx. Hello.
We like Anthrax too, so.
Michael Johnson says, are you planning on having a standalone shop to do repairs and setups? Yeah, I'm actually doing setups still. I've been really busy. In fact, it's been tough because I still have multiple businesses that I still own and operate and do stuff. And so I still do repairs. The problem I'm having is that the shop that was going to open, there's another place that would like me to take a section of their business and do something with it. And I'm not under a time crunch to make that happen. So I've been kind of dragging it out for the last week and a half. So, because mostly I got the other stuff to do too as well. Let's see. What else do we got? Hey, Bandit Wait No Way Back says in Brazil they don't have G&L. Yeah, you know what, Bandit? Don't feel bad. If my theory is right, no one's going to have anything soon. It's just going to be Fender and Gibson everywhere. It's really getting impossible. One of the things that I do now is I've always done consulting, but I do consulting with other businesses, and I've been helping a lot of small businesses, smaller companies, and it's very easy to figure out when talking to them that they're having trouble, right, getting access to customers anymore. It's tough. So yeah. Oh, here's a good question. Tony wants to know, do I like the Superchamp XD or the X2? I own both. I found them both to be the same. I like some of the presets better on the XD than I did on the X2, but I didn't seem to mind. Both were fine. If you're gonna pick one, pick what's cheapest and you'll be better off. I don't think you'll lose out on anything, right?
Yeah.
So. Let's see. Somebody put Superchamp hiss after playing. Sounds like a bad tube. The great thing about tube amps is most of the time it's a bad tube. So. Here's a tough one. So we'll hit it together. Says, hey Phil. CT says, hey Phil, wanted to get your opinion on Chibsons. You know what a Chibson is?
Yeah, the Chinese Gibsons.
Chinese Gibsons. I've said this before, just not really a lot, but I have said it before. I'm never going to buy a Chibson, so I got to start there. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to buy any of the Alibaba, any of that stuff. It's never going to happen. And it's just because I've never had a problem buying the guitar I want, in the idea that if I don't want to spend what somebody wants for a hiring guitar, I have no problem buying the affordable version, right? That's why I have affordable and more expensive versions of all of my guitars. The fake guitars, the problem is obviously it's illegal for technically, and there's all kinds of issues there. It's just a can of worms I don't want to play with. You know what it is? I don't want to be involved with someone I know is shady, and obviously they're shady. That's really what it comes down to. So it's not that I judge anyone. If you have a Chibson, I'm not going to say anything. I don't have an opinion that says you're wrong or right, but I do have an opinion that the people that make them is wrong, right? So start with that. Even if you have one and you're happy with it, and I'm glad for you and no issues, I really don't think you could come to the conclusion that they're doing something right, right?
Yes.
Right. No one wants to be knocked off. I always make the joke, what would happen if they found people that sounded just like the Beatles, re-recorded all the Beatles songs and put them out on the radio for half the price of what they pay royalties to the Beatles? It's not always the best idea. Plus I secretly hate the idea that the cheaper knockoff wins. So there you go. Here's a good one. Matt says, anyone else here had an issue with your Panama guitar purchase? Buyer's remorse, by the way. Panama Amps, is that what you're talking about? I just want to make sure. You said Panama Guitars. I only know Panama Amps purchase. They sent me one. I did a review. Like I said in the review, I said it was very average, nothing exciting. That's my official take on it. Mine wasn't defective. I didn't have any issues. I had nothing to jam them up on, but there was nothing exciting about it.
Yeah, it just sounded like every other amp out there. We brought it in the store, we played it, and we were matching it up against other amps in the price range, and it just and for the price and for what it was, it didn't seem like it was a good deal.
Yeah, it was just wasn't exciting. Okay, what else do we got? Oh, somebody's got a comment about that. So hold on. So Adam says, if Gibson wasn't such a crappy company, I would care more about the Chibson issue. Yeah, but you know what it is? Adam, I'm not faulting your logic, okay? The beautiful thing about this world that we're in, all of us here today, is that this is just gear.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't politics. This isn't, anything, this isn't safety issues. There's nothing. We're all allowed to have an opinion and we all can be happy. However, your point, I understand what you're saying, right? It's hard to support Gibson. I feel the same way. Gibson, I differently than some of you, I've had personal bad experience with the company. You know what I mean? They've personally have done things that I thought were very unethical, right? I mean, so I could actually say, wow, besides just not enjoying their product in business, they have some ethics issues for sure. And I could even see Adam's point. If there was going to be a company that something bad was going to happen to them, it's hard for me to care about them. But one, I don't think has anything to do with the other. Because the truth is, Adam, something to think about is the people that make the Chibsons make the Ibanezes or the whatever, the Ibanez, right, whatever. They make all that stuff, and it's scary because again, I'm not gonna ever lie to you guys. I have sat on that website for hours, getting ready to buy some knockoff guitar. Doing knockoff George Lynn's guitar once. I was like, oh, it would just be cool to hang it on the wall. I don't even care if it plays right, But again, I came to the conclusion I just don't want to support a company that it's already bad enough that things are turning out the way they are for a lot of companies out there. This I don't know, just didn't want to support it. Jeff says my Chibson looks okay, but it sucks to play. Well, yeah, because it's an inexpensive price point guitar. It needs setup and love, and they make mistakes. Think about this. Again, not proving that the counter of this argument is true, but to that statement that you bought a Chibson and it plays horribly, well, it doesn't even have their name on it, so who cares? If I made something with somebody else's name on it, how much equity am I going to have in whether or not that thing's any good?
Yeah, what's your quality control going to be like? You're making a knockoff.
Yeah, you're making a knockoff. Who do you care? Right? You're like, oh, it's horrible. You're like, good.
Yeah, it's not my name.
Yeah, it's not my name. It just continually staining the Gibson reputation. Let's see.
Have you ever tried swirl painting a guitar? Jimmy.
Jimmy, I have not, but I had one swirled. If you see my videos, I have a swirled N4. Atomic Guitars did it. I watched the video on it. I'm not a painter. I've built guitars. I've done everything else. I've never done finish work. That's real common in our world, is that some people who build guitars just don't do the finish work. I'm one of those. It's not my forte. I'm not really good at it.
And I mean, it's a lot of time and effort to paint a guitar right, and
yeah, it's
so you must know that's something like let someone that does that all the time do it.
And Jimmy, if it helps, if you ever think about swirling a guitar, I could tell you the secret that I told Atomic to do when they did mine. I learned keep it simple: 1 base coat and 2 top coat colors, and you'll. And they learned that as well. They did mine and it came out great, and they did some others that didn't come out so great, and they said I was right. My theory was right. The more colors you had, the more problems you're going to have. Let's see. Have you any thoughts further about having PRS make the guitars? Yeah. You're talking about those SEs? Nobody was interested. That's what it came down to. I had like 3 or 4 people was like, yeah. I mean, PRS wants me to buy 50. This isn't like some people. I think some people got confused too. So let me explain. If you guys, there's 480 of us hanging out. So let me explain. PRS said, since I have a channel, since I have a subscriber base that we have a community here, if we were interested in coming together as a community and making our own SE guitar, they would have to buy 50 of them, right? Or 2 sets of 25. So we could do 2 different models, but we had to do 25, right? I would have to pay for them up front, right? Which is a lot of money. Do the math on that, right? I mean, no matter what you guys think you make on a guitar like that, even doing the math, you're talking $20,000 minimum, right, up front. And so I would have to do that, and then everybody would buy them, and it'd be something unique for the channel and something exciting. And some people got confused and thought I was talking about an endorsed model. It's an easy thing. I'm never going to do an endorsed model, right? And it seems silly when I say that out loud because you're like, why would you do an endorsed model? You're some dude in your bedroom. But the point is that what I'm saying is I can tell you honestly, I'm never going to do endorsed anything. Anyways, but back to the important part. Nobody cared. 3 or 4 people said, yeah, here's what I would need. I would need 20 to 30 people to be like, yeah, take my money. And then I would fork out the difference. And right. Because it's going on my credit card, so to speak. Let's see where we go. So what else do we got? Hold on. It's jumping. All right. What do we got? PRS even makes some decent low-cost guitars. Okay, I'm catching you guys talking back and forth. I don't know how to say that. Mohit?
Yeah, let's go with Mohit.
Mohit says, Victory Sheriff or Freeman Runt. Mohit, I am biased on this issue. I would pick the Freeman Runt. I have the Freeman Runt. Victory Amps did not treat me very, very well as a customer, so I don't own my Victory Amps anymore. I did like the Sheriff, however, and I did not have any problems with the Sheriff, so I always want to point those 2 things out. The Sheriff amp was good. I didn't have issues with it. But as a company, I didn't have a good experience, so I'm not a real big fan of them anymore. This is some of the stuff I talked to you guys about that I closed the shop, the retail side. Yeah. Ralph can tell you. That's why I closed the retail side. I was kind of under obligation not to say certain things, and that was one of them. Victory was a very horrible company to deal with. We didn't have a good experience. We lost a lot of money, and it's something you don't really bring up. Now I don't have a store. I'll say whatever I want. Yeah. So, in fact, about anything. You guys can ask me anything. I'll tell you now. I'll tell you, it's funny, the last video I did when I said, remember, and Ralph could tell you this funny story. When I did the video, it says, hey, I'm not going to do retail anymore. I'm just going to do the YouTube on that side, right? Now, and don't everybody confuse that. Everybody took it as I'm going to do YouTube full time. I didn't say that. I just said, out of all the things I do, the retail thing, I'm going to stop and just focus on YouTube. So I exchanged one thing for one other thing. But what was interesting on that was I said in that video, because companies were giving me a hard time because I was connected to both entities, they didn't feel I should be out on the internet saying whatever I want when I have a personable relationship with them. And it was hurting the business. Ralph, of course, is a partner of that business. It was hurting Ralph. It was hurting everyone. Funny story is, so I do that video, right? I didn't tell anybody, by the way. Ralph found out the same way everybody found out.
Yeah, I found it. It came through my phone, like, hey, Phil, put up this thing.
And he's like, oh. And then Fender the following week basically did exactly what I said I was upset about, which is they contacted me and said, hey, we're not telling you to, but we're asking you to take a video down, in which I did. They had me in a bad situation. I couldn't do anything about it because I had the business. So hopefully all those days are behind me. Let's see. What else do we got? 520 of us hanging out. You guys are awesome. I love it. You guys show up for these things. Somebody just said bourbon plus beer equals yum. I don't know if that's a question or a statement, but
there's supposed to be one shot in there too. I listened to George Thorogood. I know how this works.
Yeah. Rick Duff said, okay, they're obviously talking to each other. Jack the Ripper said, let Ralph talk more. So you got to talk more.
All right.
It's okay. I'll let him talk. I promise. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. You know what we should do? Maybe we should do prizes for great questions. I'll have to work on stuff. Wait, hold on. 2 things. I think Guitar Player talked about your Taylor Swift video. They did. They wrote a whole article about it and mentioned me in it. And if you guys, that's why I love this live thing. I really do. I love it. I know afterwards other people see it. I really love that you guys hang with me and you guys give us a sense of community here. That video, the Taylor Swift versus Eddie Van Halen, if you guys know the backstory on that, some people do, some people don't. That's a big deal. Not that video I did, but you understand what I was talking about. It was new in the industry, but not only did Guitar Player do an article about that, but major manufacturers contacted me and said, we're seeing this trend as well, and we hadn't thought about it until you said that yes, and Fender even said that. What did they say? 51% of guitars sold last year were female, and 75% of those females had never, ever been in a music store in their entire life.
Yeah, because I remember the day that you made the comment at the store, and it was... I think we had sold like 3 guitars to little girls, and like 12 and younger, and you made the comment, you were like, no, Taylor Swift's the new Eddie Van Halen. And everybody in there was like, what do you mean? And you had to explain it then, and it made perfect sense. And that was what the trend was in the store, was we noticed in the store that it was always more and more girls playing. And the joke was always Taylor Swift. And 90% of the time, they were like, yes.
Yeah.
So, I still agree with Phil that, yes, Taylor Swift is the new Eddie Van Halen.
But not as a clickbait video or a comment.
Yeah.
Just as...
inspiration.
And if I would have made that same video 10 years ago in 2007, I would have said Guitar Hero was the next Van Halen.
Yeah.
So it really didn't go Van Halen. I didn't just go, hey, there was Van Halen, there was nobody. There's been Van Halen, there's been Slash, there's been Guitar Hero, but currently guitar buying community has been influxed by female artist. She's the one that's driving the masses, and a lot of people were offended by that video, especially Van Halen fans. and I'm not laughing at them. I understand the plight of what I'm doing, what I'm saying. What's interesting about that was the importance of it was that there's a lot of people that inspire a lot of people to play music, but let's be honest, certain people inspire a lot more people, right?
Yes.
And she's doing that right now. There's a great question. Matt Wise said, "What was the best company to work with?" Matt, it's hard to say because small companies are great to work with because they need your business. So they treat you like they need your business. But I will tell you, my favorite company is probably Paul Reed Smith because they don't need your business as much as a small company, but they treat you like they do. And I will be honest with you, when I decided to close shop, because it was my decision, and I closed shop because I have 51%, so I'm a majority holder. So I decided that's what I wanted to do, and
no one argued.
And no one argued, right? Because everybody kind of saw what I was seeing, that there's other avenues that are better to pursue. But what's interesting was the list of companies that I worked with for over a decade and given millions of dollars to, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to, I can only name 3 or 4 that were really truly contacting me. And not to say anything other than we still want to work with you in any way, that whatever you're doing in the future, we still would like to do business with you. And Paul Reed Smith was one of those. They were in fact, that's their whole point with these those models. They said, hey, we love that you're doing YouTube. We think this is great. They were the first ones to call me and go, what a great thing. Whatever you do, Phil, it's probably going to be fun. Let's do it together.
Well, I think they were the first company that understood the power of new marketing today, which is the people doing reviews on YouTube, on Facebook, and everything else. And when we were at the John Mayer release, it was all YouTube people.
Yeah.
And Paul said that to John Mayer. He goes, this is our media now. Because that's all these guys on YouTube.
Yeah, it was interesting. Okay, so what do we got? We're missing some questions. Let's see. Hold on. I'm just skimming a little bit. Somebody's asking me a question. This is the second time, so Josh, I got to get to it, but I don't know the answer, so I just got to tell you I don't know the answer. What happened to Reverend amplifiers like the Hellhound? I don't know. I don't know. So I'm only telling you because I don't know, and I know you asked the question a couple times, and I don't want you to keep asking it. And let me leave you hanging. Okay, so Bandit No Way Back said, I talked about a video between you and Marty Schwartz together. Did you contact him? No, that's not what I said, Bandit. What I said was that Marty Schwartz once tweeted a video of mine and shared it with his fan base, and that's where a lot of subscribers came from. And so that's why I said I always have a thing for Marty, because it was really cool of him to do that for me. He just found a video of mine. I was right, and he shared it, and it's great. It's because it feels good, because it feels like there's a guitar community out there. Bernard says, "Have you heard of Mata amps? Mata amp. I don't know how to say that. M-A-Tamp amps. Matamp amps. Never heard of them. Let's see. Okay. Okay, wait, hold on. I found one. There are so many questions. There's still 500. There's 557 of us hanging, so I'm doing my best. Oh, Keith wants to know what I think of Framus guitars. I think they're really good. Every year I touch one at the NAMM show next to the Warwicks, and I go, yeah, I can't afford this. But we'll see. I have a feeling. I've been thinking about getting a Nags or a Framus, right? I've got it in my craw to get one last high-end crazy guitar, do something fun like that. And Framus is definitely one of the two. It's either Nags or Framus. They're both fantastic guitars. So, if that helps. There's a guy named David Gilmore. He says, Phil, how much do you think my black Strat will be worth when I die? I don't know.
More than what you paid for it.
More than what you paid for it. Some of you guys' questions are... Oh. Okay. Rick's got a question, but I just want to make sure I understand it correctly. Who is the most improved guitar buyer off-brand? Do you understand the question?
No, I don't.
Rick, I just want to make sure I understand it. Who is the most improved guitar buyer? So, do you mean brand? No, it says off-brand. You're going to have to re-ask it. Okay, let's see. Rusty says, you got to do a guitar Mythbuster series. Well, that's basically what the 5 Things videos are. And, okay, how about this? I'll give you one now, Mythbusters. So when I made the comment in the video that I get harassed a lot by companies, right? And then somebody says, oh, but your reviews aren't that aggressive, right? It's not my reviews that get me in trouble. It's the 5 Things videos. The 5 Things videos have pretty much done everything from have the head of the company call me, the owner of a company call me, a lawyer. I've had a lawyer. That was recent. I had a lawyer sicked on me. For a 5 Things video. And all of these things, I can tell you this. Not a single 5 Things video has ever been taken down. So proving, I'm very thorough about my 5 Things videos. And so they are very hard. In fact, when I do them, I don't think people understand. It's not the information that's important. It's that when you say this stuff, it's important that it's the right tone, it's the right information. There's so much to it because as I do them, I'm going to tell you right now, as I do them, I get more and more gun shy because I've had so many angered companies. And it's not what you think, so you know. In fact, 9 out of 10 times, or hasn't, you're right, the majority of the time, 90% of the time, it's not the company I did the video about contact me. It's another company upset about me talking about another company. It is really strange. And when I had the store, it was even worse because... Right? Because brands that I would do these videos for, other brands were looking at it like I had somehow... In fact, it happened many times, like I had made some kind of alliance with this other brand. How dare you talk highly of another brand? And so there you go. And there's good that comes out of it. Otherwise, I wouldn't keep doing this. But I thought I'd share that with you. Okay, let's see. Anyone else? What do we got? What do we got questions? There's 580 of us hanging out. So there's a lot of us. We got a lot of good questions.
How big of a difference does a neck-through bass really make? Ed asked that.
There's all kinds of arguments. My personal experience is a good quality made instrument. Here's my argument. If I made a junky instrument, but I made it neck-through, and I made a really high quality fit and finish instrument, bolt-on, I could argue that they could equal each other. So I don't find it makes all the difference. Although I think it changes it. I personally don't look for a lot of sustain in my bass guitars. So that's part of my problem. Like, I don't use high mass bridges. I use low mass bridges. Because I like to slap and stuff. So there's no sustain in that.
Here we go. Schumann. Phil and Ralph, is there a PRS that feels like a Strat neck-wise? I've had 3. They are beautiful. They sound right. It's the neck that I have trouble with.
Showman, have you tried? So PRS, you got to realize he's got basically a couple of different necks out there, or a few. The 2 predominant ones are going to be the pattern regular now and the pattern thin. To me, if I was going to say the neck that feels most like a Strat, for me, it's the pattern thin on the core models, especially one like the Mirrors, but core, pattern thin, for sure, which is why all my PRSs except for my S2 is pattern thin. And the PRS SE, the Korean one, custom 24 and 22s, their necks are slightly thinner than a Strat, but close to that. So definitely those. But you're looking for the pattern thins, or wide thin is going to be slightly smaller than a Fender neck, but pattern thin will be close to the Fender neck. Okay. So if that's what you're looking for, that's the way you got to go. That's kind of what I said earlier when I was talking about S2s versus SEs. That's my issue. I, like you, well, I've said this before. It's not that I like small necks or bigger necks. I just like necks to be consistent.
I understand where you're coming from, Showman. I mean, I had the same problem when I went from, I played mostly Strats, got a PRS, just pattern regular. I just learned to play it. I really wish there was a better answer than that, but I just sat down and started playing it for weeks on end and kind of got used to it.
Yaman says, "Hey Phil, did you get your PRS SC Sam, Cat? Which I should say Charlie, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, 594. Did you get that as a review? I haven't got it yet. Now that you said that, I might call him next week and see what's going on. It's been a little while. Okay, what else do we got? Thoughts on Carvin Legacy 1? A lot of people like it. I've really, probably if I played it, it's in passing years ago. I have no really first impression of it. So I just don't know it. Mike wants to know, do you think a wireless system has detrimental effect to your tone? Absolutely. Well, it changes your tone to the negative or positive. That's going to be up to the end user and their ear. Me, right? It's basically converting your sound into something and then sending it across,
Yeah.
So it does change it. Do I think it matters? I mean, to the point where I wouldn't record with it, right? But live, I don't know if you could really hear enough difference to where it could upset you live. I've just found some are worse than others. Custom vintage tuck and roll amplifiers. Any thoughts? Yeah, they're cool looking. I think I said this before. My favorite is the custom Coupe 36. They're great.
I remember those.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Made in the USA, 36 watts, 2 channels, reverb. I was looking to get on reverb. There's a black one for like $550. Somebody buy that so I don't have to. I'm thinking about getting it. If I get it, though, I know if I get it, I'll either keep it and get rid of something or it'll just get cycled out. Okay, what else?
I like that one. Here we go.
What one?
Was that Uncle Salty?
Yeah.
Best budget amp that will work for gigging and bedroom.
That's
a good one.
Well, its problem is, what's the budget? Is it tube?
Yeah.
Is it, right? I don't know.
Give us a budget. Reply back with a budget.
You got to have a budget because, it could go all day. There was somebody asked, what do I think of the Superchamp? Because I put that on my Facebook. Somebody asked, what do you think of Champion 40, the Mustang 3? I'm actually figuring that out right now. I tried the Mustang GT, the new ones, and I didn't like them. So I'm not reviewing them. That's how short the review is. You just got the review. I didn't like it. It didn't appeal to me. it was so. Anyways, I'm sure it's fantastic for if somebody likes it, but me, I just didn't dig it. I'd rather keep the old one. So I have a Mustang 3, and I have a Champion 40, and I want to AB them because I want to get rid of one. So I was thinking about doing a video again, showing you guys what I'm up to, which is
hold on. I like that one. I like that one right there.
Huh?
By Harry.
Harry, ever picked up a really high-end guitar and thought it was terrible? All the time, Harry.
Yes, I mean price does not dictate quality
at all. And not just because it has a bad setup. Some just guitars, you
don't feel it. You can pick it up and start playing it. It just doesn't feel right.
Yes, yeah. So it happens. The thing that makes you connect to an instrument cannot be based on dollars. It has to be based on something else. Although dollars just all being expensive does is make the percentages in your favor, right? Yeah. If a guitar that's a $300 guitar is probably 20% likely to be good, whether you like it or not, then I guess you could think that a $600 guitar would be 50%, right? Yeah. So something to that effect. Yes, Dane wants to know, Phil, do you think the MXR Carbon Copy Delay is a great pedal? I do. I have the Carbon Copy Bright. It's right here. I like it.
We sold a lot of those through the store.
Yeah, sold a lot of them. I liked them. Carbon Copy Bright. I think the problem with the Carbon Copy Bright is the word bright is in it. To me, it's not bright. I think they confuse everybody. That's not bright. It's just not as dark and as muddy as the Carbon Copy. And I like both. Could own either. Just pick the Carbon Copy Bright. I thought it was a little crisper, and I like the green better.
Jose's got a question.
Okay.
Does a good guitar cable matter, and how much is worth spending on them?
Yes. So, me personally, everybody's going to have a different experience of cables. Again, because there's no, ultimate. Well, here, let me put it this way. I'll tell you what I do. Cables. There are bad cables, and then there are good cables. People like to argue that there's bad, there's good, there's better, there's best, there's right. It just goes in stairs. My experience has been a cable can make your sound worse. It can crackle. It could be horrible. It'll make the entire experience a horror. And then there's good cable. And so I've learned to buy cable that way. This is good cable. Now, I would like to give you a little bit more on that, but here's why. I actually have a video coming out, and the problem is I actually have to get a release for something that's in the video, and that's what I'm waiting for. But what I did was I bought some cables and then contacted companies to see how eager they were to help me with my issues with them, to see who's the best brand, who takes care of the customer the best. Because everybody has this lifetime guarantee thing, but how good is it? So I thought this would be a fun little test to do, so I'm doing that stuff. I'm pretty sure I'll have it done. I just need to do a follow-up. No, but yeah, yes. But I don't think you have to buy extremely expensive cables. So,
yeah, just don't buy the $6 ones.
Okay, so somebody says, in your opinion, because I can't read, Hero is in heaven. In your opinion, what guitar company has come the furthest as in quality, prices, etc.? Ooh, come the furthest. Right, like turned it around. How about that? How about who's turned it around? Who's made their stuff better? Started out and then kind of shocked you. That's a tough one, right?
I think the biggest one would, for me as a company, would have been Charvel when they came out with the Desolation series.
Yeah?
That was the biggest for what you got and the quality you got.
Right.
I think that was the big one.
Huh. Yeah, that's a good question, right? The good questions really just stump you and stop you. Yeah. Who's really kind of come around and really improved it, like turned it around?
I think Schecter had an improvement there for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they started out really good, too. That's the problem. Like, I'd say PRS, but really, they started out fine, and they're good. I'm trying to think of, like, a company that because it is a funny question, because here's why. If you ask me the opposite, who was great, who's gotten worse, I could name a lot. But who's really turned it around? Right? God, that's a tough question. Yeah. I'm trying to think of somebody who wasn't very good that is now better. And it's tough. That's a tough question. I don't think I have an answer. I feel horrible. Let's see. Okay, here's a good question because I want to answer it for the customer or for the viewer. Is it worth swapping out pickups on my 03 Gio? I mean, I'm assuming you're saying Ibanez Gio. Swapping out pickups is worth it in the idea that you keep the old pickups, and then when you sell the guitar, you put the old pickups back.
Yeah.
Just keep your pickups. That's the best thing. And the guitar like that, learn to do it yourself. Right? Do it yourself. It's not going to be hard. I promise. So, save the money on the repair. Save the money on the, right? You can do a lot. Okay. I knew it was going to come. Who's great but gotten worse? Oh, easy. Like Ibanez. Ibanez used to be fantastic, and now they make everything from, junk to great stuff. BC Rich, Charvel, Fender, everybody now does it. Everybody just makes a price point. In fact, very few companies are not guilty of it, right? So they make a price point, and some of the stuff when you're trying to hit student level instruments, let's be honest, the fit and finish gets through.
You're cutting corners somewhere.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a ton of companies that are just notoriously known for that. So for sure. Okay, so we're gonna give the 10-minute warning. There's 580 of us, and let's see if we can grab like 3 or 4 good questions. All right. Oh. All right. Sonia wants to know. Phil, what's the best fuzz pedal in your opinion? Okay. Here's the easy part. Hold on a second. This is my favorite and second favorite and third favorite. Okay. And that sounds crazy, but I mean, literally, I could tell you, to be honest, 100% honest, I could actually get rid of all my other fuzz pedals, and I have a few. Okay, so in order, my favorite is this one, which I don't think you can buy. This is the Lawrence Petros Green Russian. It looks like that. And I don't know if this is a prototype or if he sells them. I have no idea. I don't know what it costs. I don't remember what I gave him for it. I know I paid for it. It's awesome. It was so good. He loaned it to my buddy Joe, and then when Joe said he's got to think about it, and I grabbed it and I paid him. So that's my favorite. My second favorite is the Beatronics. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Walk the hell? Whatever that is. I'm doing a review right now. That's a really great pedal. And then my third is the Fuzzopotamus by Taurus Pedals. Which is also the Pi Fuzz by them. So these are the 3 fuzz pedals. There you go. And of these 3, in order, the way I say them is the way I'd want to keep them, right? So there you go. That helps. There's only 600 of us. There's 596.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sub-Effect said, Marshall Code amps any good? You know what? I guess I feel horrible. I keep getting asked the question. I still haven't tried one. So, somebody asked, hold on, let's go back one. Randall asked, Rondo Music Guitars. Yeah, Rondo Music makes SX and, what's the one, the 8-string guitars everybody buys from them? I don't know why I can't think of it, but that's what they make. Great stuff. I mean, it's inexpensive. It's great for what it is. I've owned an SX bass, and I thought it was cool. I've had no issues. Of course, they make inexpensive stuff, so I've seen people with issues, but nothing more than... Toadness says, ever planning on streaming with Henning? Oh, of course. I love Henning. Probably sooner than later. We just got to line up. I've had conversations. I've had Skype calls for 4 and 5 hours with Henning. We literally can both talk to the point where...
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous because we get along so much. And we probably should have done a live stream then because we were just Skyping for hours, and we've done it many times. It's just lining up the time of the day. So what's probably going to end up happening is we'll do one, but it will be a not scheduled time like this because we got to make our times line up. It can't be in the middle of the night for him and so on. Phil, do you like the full tone Octafuzz? I don't think I've tried it, the full tone Octafuzz. So I haven't. Lawrence said Jared Briggs. Am I missing something? He's answering somebody's question. He's got to be. right? I'm like, what are you saying? Did I get in trouble, Lawrence? Did I not supposed to tell anybody about the Green Russian? By the way, Green Russian. It's just a good pedal. It's cool. Like I said, if I kept one, this is it. But in all fairness, actually, in fairness, these two. I love the third one, but these two. Oh, so awesome. Okay. There we go. Somebody just said something about Budweiser.
Budweiser or Grey Goose?
Oh, man. I'm not answering those kind of questions. Let's see. Although, if it make you guys feel better, I do know your beer is a channel. I don't know why I have it. I just have it. I'll probably never do anything with it. But Gloomhound said, "Thanks for doing this." You know what? Thank you, Gloomhound, for hanging out. This is cool. I love getting these questions. They like I said, it is. In fact, I couldn't do it yesterday, so I thought let's do a Saturday one. And then I told Ralph it's gonna be Saturday. You can come hang out. So he's hanging out.
Yeah.
What the hell guitar pedal? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, right? What? You do it. What is that? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with what the hell.
So here's another good question. Holy Grail reverb pedal. Your thoughts? The Holy Grail. I love that pedal. I have one. It's somewhere. I don't know where. But the reverb pedal I use the most is this pedal. It's actually hooked up my effects loop right now. It's the 63 reverb by Boss. I don't know why. I just love it. And I have a bunch of reverb pedals and they're all good. But that one, right? Let's see. I'm trying to miss not. Okay, ready? Okay. Okay, Ed Bailey's got a great question. Phil, is a Jackson bass quality as good as it was in the early 90s? You sold a bunch of Jackson basses. Ooh. You tell me.
That's a good question.
I know. I have my answer already. I'm just giving you a shot.
My problem was I really didn't play the Jacksons from the early 90s because I didn't care for the Jackson basses in the 90s.
That's funny because you're a Jackson guy.
I am a Jackson guy. I'm a huge Marty Freeman fan, huge Dave Mustaine fan from the 90s. But for some reason, I never cared for the Jackson basses. So I really can't say what they were compared to the early 90s because I never really played them from the 90s.
So my opinion is the Jackson basses now are as good as anything in that price range because that's what it is. It's made overseas where something else is made. Is it the same as what it was? Absolutely not. There's some quality features to the old ones that are just fantastic, but it's not a bad quality. It's not bad now. So I'm not saying they were good then and they're crap now. I'm saying they were great then and they're pretty good now. So there you go. That's my opinion on that. Working on them too. Let's see. Oh, yeah. See, I just want to say because somebody said it. So the 63 reverb is amazing. Agreed. Yeah, I really think those Fender pedals that Boss did are really good. I'm thinking about getting the what's the other one? The deluxe reverb pedal. Right? There's one on Craigslist right now. I'm thinking about calling the guy. See if I should meet up and buy it. I haven't tried the Sir Compre yet. Rick Levine asked that. I haven't tried it, so I don't know. I've heard nothing but great things. Let's see. So Lucas wants to know, Phil, any experience with a humbucker size P90 pickups that are close to the actual tone? I actually have a set of P90s out in the hallway on the counter. A friend of mine came and dropped them off for me. Neil did it. Neil came and dropped them off. They're Gibsons, but I haven't found a guitar to put them in, so I'm working on that right now. So maybe that'll motivate me to put them in something and tell you what I thought. Let's see. Here's a good question. Bud wants to know, what guitar do you regret letting go? I think none of them right now because I have a lot of guitars. In fact, Ralph when he came over today, he was telling me how obnoxious everything looks. Look, he's laughing.
It's ridiculous. It's like walking back into a store.
It's bad. I have a lot of guitars. I need to. My kids tell me I have a problem right now, so I got to chill out. Oh, Lisa wants to know, buying a Gibson, older or new for quality? Older, right? My experience, the older the better. I'm trying to buy a Gibson right now too. I'm trying to think about getting rid of my Les Paul and getting a different one, but when I picked up the new ones, I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah, so. I did that too. I was because I'm still looking for an SG.
Right.
And I keep going to stores and I keep picking up the new ones, and I can't justify spending the money on a new Gibson. It just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. I'd rather find an older one and just pay top dollar for an older one than buy a new one.
Yeah, I hate saying that, but it just seems to be true. What's even worse too is, it's like Fender. I think they're actually gotten better in the last 10 years. You know what I mean? I think right. I think they seem to be going in a good direction. So, Jose wants to know, why don't most guitar companies use mainly stainless steel frets? Well, the cop-out answer is cost. It costs more for tooling. It costs more for the fret material. This is true. But also, you're a double-edged sword. Something that it now costs you more money, and your consumer base isn't educated about them.
Yeah.
Really, think about this. Think about the YouTube as a general now. What's happening is as we're all learning more, we're realizing why are companies doing this? Well, a lot of reason why companies don't do something isn't always evil as saving a penny. Sometimes companies have to look at another problem, which is it's expensive to educate people, right? Just look at it at a retail environment, right? You walk into a store and now the employee has to explain something to you for 10 or 20 minutes. Well, that's time spent in a store. And that's just a store. If you're a manufacturer, now you got to think about advertising. You got to take out an ad to go, okay, what's a stainless steel fret? The assumption is the assumption is that it's a good thing. But the truth is, most people don't have any experience with it. As a company, do you really want to, it's like, hey, how about this? How about an argument like this? What if a company that makes, fried chicken says, what if we put different spices in it? Right? We could actually make it better. But when they start rattling off spices that most people haven't heard of, people are maybe apprehensive to try it. So it could get expensive to explain to people why something is different, is better. So that is probably as much of the reason as the cost as anything else, is that the cost of education. So, and it suits them. Then they don't have to, they don't have to do it. What about glass frets? You guys are funny. Yeah, what about frets made of popsicle sticks? Yeah, I mean, you can make frets, right? Why not? But most people don't have issues with frets wearing out. I mean, that's just the truth. Okay, we are literally under the 2-question warning. We're going to do 2 questions. You get one and I get one. So you pick one and I'll pick one.
Yeah, they're kind of...
They flood in fast.
Yeah.
There was 600 of us for a second. Let's see. Shaman says, don't ever use a fried chicken comparison again. That's not a question. I'm just explaining.
Hey, it's always about the fried chicken.
I guess. All right, ready? Okay. Oh, hold on. Brian wants to know if you've tried a Jackson Mark Morton signature guitar.
Mark Morton. Which one was that?
I don't know. It's a signature guitar for Jackson.
We had a lot of Jacksons, so let me look it up.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're looking at it. I'll answer a question. Ready? Oh, good question. Dan wants to know best modeling solid state amp for under $350 that takes pedals well. And the trick is takes pedals well, because I think a lot of them don't. That's what my problem with the new GT was, is it doesn't take pedals well. I like the Champion series for that. I like the Katana series for that. I like the Roland Cubes for that. I like what else? I haven't tried a PV Viper with a pedal in front of it, so I don't know. But but those are a couple to get you started. The In the Blues really likes the PV Bandit. I've used the PV Bandit. Ed Dana's said the PV Bandit, it's a really great amp. That's another one I would. It's not a modeling amp, but at least it's a solid state amp to get you there, right?
Okay.
Tiago wants to know, where do you put your fuzz pedal? I put my fuzz pedal immediately before any of my overdrive pedals. So that's all. That's the only requirement I have on my board.
Okay. Whoever asked a question about the Mark Morton, okay, yes, I have played it. It was okay. It was cool. I mean, it wasn't my thing. There was something about the neck I didn't like. And that ends up being the problem I have with most guitars, is there's something about the neck I just don't like. And I think that was the problem with that guitar. So...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And once you look at it, you're like, okay, I know
I played it too.
Yeah.
It
was a good guitar. I didn't have any really issues with it, but it just didn't have the mojo I needed to buy it.
It reminded me of the Dan Donegan Washburn too. So it was cool. Okay, last 2 questions for me, and then we'll cut it loose. And here's where it goes. Ready? It says, Matt wants to know favorite guitar shop. I live in Arizona, so there isn't any. I mean, that's just the truth of it. There's a couple, but there's nothing. Another one was Rock Daddy 404 says, are you going to Sweetwater Gear Fest? I had no plans. I've been trying to think if I'm actually going to go to Summer NAMM. I actually have a big trip coming up for work, and I have to start preparing for that. Is the Marshall Class 5 good for home use? Absolutely. I have a Marshall Class 5 right behind Ralph. I love it. You put pedals in front of it, you can do whatever you want.
Have you tried Rocksmith yet?
I have tried Rocksmith. It was pretty cool, although I've been playing guitar for a while, so it was kind of like, but definitely thought it was cool. And Edgar wants to know if I tried Lolo's fried chicken and waffles. I haven't.
I don't get the whole chicken and waffles thing.
You know what? There's one right down the street. Is it Lulu's or whatever? Anyways, I haven't tried it.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't get mixing my chicken and waffles together. I just don't. I can't fathom that. I don't understand it.
So... Rudy also says there's a lot of Katana fans here. Well, of course, it's a great amp. I think Boss kind of hit it out of the park. And I think if Fender was smart, they would have paid attention to that amp and not so much the Black Star Bluetooth stuff. But hey, what do you do? Okay, and the last one. Dale wants to know, because this is a question we both can answer. Dale wants to know, do you find much of a difference in a 24 fret versus a 22 fret guitar? What's your answer on that?
No. I don't use the 23rd and 24th fret, so.
Okay. So here's what's great about that. So that's Ralph. Here's my answer. Absolutely. Because in my experience, take a guitar like the Custom 24 and Custom 22. I've owned both. I preferred the sound, right? The sound of the neck pickup on the 22, based on what everybody knows. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. The neck pickup was closer, right? So I like that. But I like that when I play 24 fret guitars, I feel like the 12th fret is moved further out, and I feel like it's right here and not up here. So I kind of like that. So some of the 24 fret guitars, that's what I like about them. But it's a slight difference, but it's there. All right, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. There was almost 600 of us today. It's fantastic. Next week, it'll be on normal time. It'll be on Friday. Thank Ralph for hopping in. If you guys want to put in the comments next time, if you guys put comments you like Ralph, I'll let Ralph come back and I'll let him talk. The truth is, Ralph can tell you this. You got to get used to reading these questions, right?
And again, it's just like a conversation at the store.
Yes.
This is how the conversations at stores go. So, yeah, it's about normal.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much. As always, I want to thank you for your time and know your gear.